everybody to Wayne's celebration. A lot of you I know, a lot of you I don't know. My name is Brees. Wayne and I go back to about 1967. First off, I want to let you know Wayne's purpose in having us all together with him. I think it's important to understand so that we can, each of us probably came with our own purpose, whatever that was, or intention, something we wanted to fulfill. But we can take that and align it with Wayne's. And I think that would be the most effective way for us to celebrate with him. His intention and purpose is for us to be together and be complete. For him, his intention is to be complete in his relationship with us. He has relationships with us that vary across a pretty broad spectrum, from what I can tell. And he would like us to be in our own experience of who he is in our life. And that, when you can really listen to who someone is for you, it's a very mind-blowing experience. Wayne loves mind-blowing experiences. And I can attest to that. Absolutely. Obviously, you've seen the Huey, one of Wayne's passions. Definitely take a picture of the Huey. You got it. You can't miss that. I'm going to introduce a piece of music in a couple of minutes that we'll listen to. Wayne would like us all to listen to that. Then we're going to do some sharing. Anyone who would like to express themselves. We're going to hold that to like 30 minutes to 45 minutes. Also today, at about 4:30, my dear friend is going to take a flight. Save the wings, save those wings. And it really is a special flight. Wayne will be in the co-pilot seat, one that he has not been in since Nam. So, this is a celebration, and there should be fun and happiness and joy around Wayne's life. I've seen a lot of it, and it's been a great life. But there also may be grief. Whenever there's a potential loss or anything associated with loss, there's going to be some grief attached to it. So Wayne has selected a piece of music that he would like us all to quietly listen to. And go ahead and be with whatever experience you have of grief or loss, and let it go in the music. Let it go in the music so that when we're done with the music, we can joyously share about Wayne and celebrate Wayne's life. You got the music, Randall? Let her roll. Everybody take a nice deep breath. Wayne and I obviously go back a long ways and have been down many different roads together. We cross paths, go our own way, then we come back and cross paths. In our youth, we survived. We survived our youth through the 60s. On into the 70s, where Wayne and I went on the adventure of Carlos Castaneda. God, how many other wondrous folks did we pursue in those years? And Buddhism, that's right, Zen.
A harder look at Christianity.
Yes, we visited Jesus again, yeah. And Wayne has the distinction of being the only person to have ever played a game I invented. One of our proudest moments, we have numerous, but one of our proudest moments. I invented a game called Succulent Sheila and Hung Harry. Where I came up with that, I have no idea. But my dear friend and I managed to actually convince two young women to play the game with us. which was quite momentous, as I recall.
Quite unbelievable.
And quite unbelievable, yes, that's true. So over the years, Wayne and I have known each other very, very deeply. And we can honestly call each other brothers. I love you. I'm honored that you asked me to be here with you. And I will love you forever.
Good afternoon. So, I played that song so that you'd have an opportunity to maybe get in touch with whatever loss or grief you may have about my departing earlier than planned. I've had my own share of that, and certainly with my lovely wife Carla. Where are you, Carla? I don't see you. Hey, honeys, drop the cookies. Come up here. Actually, it doesn't look like a cookie. It looks like a rib. So, like Bree said earlier, today is not about grieving. I wanted you to have an opportunity to release whatever you were holding today so that you could be here in your hearts in joy and appreciation for our relationship and for your relationship with one another. Even though a lot of you come from completely different communities. For me, you are all my family, and I love you all.
Love you too. Love you too.
That wasn't a solicitation.
That was only $5.
Hey, Wesley, you just keep crying. So, before I say what I want to say to you, I'd like to introduce some people that are special in my life, just to give you a sense of who's here. First of all, there's my family. And I have my cousin Angela and my cousin Maria. And I have my brother Wesley and his wife Kathy. You can wave your hand in the air. I have my lovely and miraculous children, Piper and Skylar. And their mother and my first wife, Suze Marlowe, who's here. Why don't you stand up so they can see you? A lot of people have never met you. And then I have my dearest angel, who saved my life more than once over. I love you so much, Carla. I don't know what I did in this life to ever qualify for having someone like you love me. But I am so grateful that you do. I am sorry to put you through this. On the other hand, I'm so grateful that we are doing this together. I would be lost without you. I just love you so much. Would you just stand up and wave? I know, honey, you don't like crowds. But like to introduce, and these are guys that were part of my high school and post-high school life, the ruckus years, the exploratory years. We were known as, back then, as the Acme Gang, and the Acme meaning the absolute best. And we were also known as the Purple Teardrop Gang. And I won't explain where that name come from, but we do have a little motto that we write in our little notes to each other, which is PTOACF. And PTOACF stands for Purple Teardrops of a Crop Flock. I know, it's silly, but it was important to us at the time. So, obviously, Breeze White is part of that group. My brother Wesley is part of that group. Malcolm Baba, also known as the Phantom, and Mark Wiesinger. There are several others that wish that they could be here. Am I missing anybody from that group? Okay. There were a couple others that really wanted to be here, but they're still flakes and they just didn't make it. Acme members to the end. So, another group that I'd like to acknowledge is the group or the family that I grew up in, the people of Trinity Church. I was born and raised in Oakland and grew up in a Pentecostal church called Trinity Church. My dad was a counseling minister. My mom played the organ in the church for like 30-something years. My dad was the choir director. At one time, when I was a teenager, I even sang in the choir. I played in the church band, played an E-flat alto horn of all things. Wesley played trumpet, so these people are as near and dear of a family to me as anybody else. So if you're here from my church family and my early beginnings, would you just please raise your hand? And then there's another very special group of men that I am just friends with, and all of them are men, except for one remarkable woman who stands in both the shoes of men, in the hearts of men, and in the shoes of women, and in the hearts of women. And that's my men's club. And if you guys are in my men's club, would you please raise your hands? Either you qualify. I know I'm going to forget to acknowledge somebody, so I apologize ahead of time. I also have business associates here, people that I worked with as the Terry Group. And there are three very special people here that I would like to acknowledge. And I'd like you guys to stand up. And that's Kent Knight, Kaylee Henson, and Lois Carey, is she still still here. And, okay, oh, hi Kaylee, and Frank Graham. We spent a lot of long hours together doing very strange and difficult work for very particular clients. And it was an honor and a privilege to work with you guys. So I'm really grateful that you're here. And then there's my Werner Erhard family. This guy, it's all your fault. I went over his house one day. I won't mention why we were together, but I went over to his house one day, and he was somehow different. And I couldn't put my finger on what was different about him. And he had just given me a few months before the Carlos Castaneda's books to read, which was a very eye-opening thing to read and grapple with. And I asked him, what have you done? What have you been up to? You're different. And it wasn't that he was acting different. It was that I felt different in his presence. And that was kind of shocking to me. And so he says, well, I did this thing called Est, where we get into a hotel room. And I pictured a room with a bed and a television, like Motel 6. And then he starts, yeah, and he starts talking about theater-style seating, and he says we do processes, and we turn the chairs around and face each other. And I couldn't get how you could turn around theater seats that were bolted to the floor. And I mean, it just didn't make any sense to me whatsoever. But there was something in the quality of the way he was being that I knew I wanted to find out more about this. And he's grappling with how to explain it to me. And he goes, oh, you know, it's like those Carlos Castaneda's books. And I went, where do I go to do this? And I think within a month, I did the training. So it ended up that I volunteered for about a year and a half, and that's where I met my first wife, Suze, and then I ended up going on staff for Werner for 10 years. And I learned my business and how to do my work in the world. But I also learned how to more deeply be myself. And it was very difficult back then to draw a line between the intellectual and ontological conversation that the S training was, and the really heart of the matter of the training, which is to realize that you were driving the car and that you've been driving it with your hands on the view mirror, wondering why the car wouldn't go where you wanted it to go. So the training put my hands back on the steering wheel. And I have you to thank for that, my friend. And then out of that, I met Lou Epstein and Francine, and Louis and I became great friends. And Louis founded my men's club. And just the conversation of being a human being, living with compassion and understanding for others, and being in your heart and loving the people around you, just with such a deeper level of being a human being for me, that I realized that I didn't have to do anything else to change or make myself better. I just had to get to that place in me where God lived, where I lived, where it was that I said, I am Wayne. And being in that place is a very sweet place to live. So, the last group of people that I'd like to acknowledge is Oh, no, there's another group that I acknowledge the guys, my professional contacts and relationships, working with the Terry Group. I did, like Bill Sutton and Mike Levy. Okay, the people, these guys they were vendors that provided services to my clients that I learned to trust and count on and use as a resource for my clients and my business. And I think there are 3 here today. Dave Stauffer, Mike Levy, and Bill Sutton. And Mike, you've been a really close and dear friend. And I appreciate your partnership and your heart in working with me. I could always count on you, Dave. Thank you so much. And Bill Sutton, I just consider you a friend. We've worked so closely together, and you and I just seem to understand each other at a level that most people in business don't get an opportunity to. And I just really appreciate you being here today and being my friend. Thank you, Bill. So lastly, I mean, there are friends here. I have ex-girlfriends here, like Maureen and her friends, and my friend Justine, and I have friends of Carla's who are here, her stepbrother, and just a lot of people that I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to mention you all, but there is one group that I really want to mention, and those are the people that I served with in Vietnam. These are my brothers in a way that I can't describe, but I'd like to ask them to stand up. There's Jeff Carr, Andy Perry. There's Bernard. Where's Bernard? Snake, stand up. Okay, and Jerry. We were all members of the 135th Assault Helicopter Company, and that helicopter over there is a representation or a restoration of one of the longest surviving helicopters of that type in our unit. And several of us actually flew in the original 309. And then I'd like to lastly acknowledge the EMU team, who are comprised of some of the veterans that I just acknowledged, but other veterans from other units who have come together and to devote their time and their energy to preserving this aircraft and using it to communicate a message of nonviolence and anti-war, and using it to heal veterans who are still struggling with the effects of PTSD in the world. It's really our own PTSD project. We love sharing it with people, and we hope to preserve her into the next generation. Actually, Jeff and I were talking, and Jeff is our founder. Jeff and I were talking, and really our goal is for this to be the last flying Vietnam helicopter on the planet. So that's going to take a lot of dedication, it's going to take a lot of education, and it's going to take one pile of money. So I'll do a very brief plug. We have t-shirts available, and we have our own labeled wine available. Buy some. And if you don't want that stuff, then leave a few dollars on the table. It pays for the dinosaur juice we put in her to keep her flying. And if you'd really like to get up close and personal with her, we have one more public open house for members on the 19th of October here at the hangar. And if you become a member, we'll put you in her and we'll fly you. But flying is a privilege belonging only to members. That's my plug. Okay. So bear with me. I have some more things I want to say. I'm going to stand up for this. Shh. So if I have ever done anything that made you feel less than you are in my presence, I apologize. If I have ever done anything to hurt or offend you, I apologize. If I have ever lied to you or broken your trust, I apologize. I apologize to you for everything. Thank you for my children. And thank you for loving me. Thank you for forgiving me all the time. If I've ever made you feel safe, unsafe, or slighted, or not listened to, or not understood, or judged by me, I apologize. If I have ever left you wanting and incomplete in my relationship with you, I apologize. I love you, Paul. And if there's anything that I have not said that you have sitting in your chair about me, I apologize for that too. And if there's anything that you've done to me that fits in any of those categories, I forgive you. I forgive you. I forgive you. With all my heart, I forgive you. Okay, that feels good. I hope there's Kleenex on all the tables. So, it's just some, hey Mike, hey Lindsay, hi you guys, thanks for making it. There's food, there's wine, there's beer, but thank you for coming. So, today just so happens to be the birthday of my wonderful daughter, Piper, who's 31 today. Coincidentally, my son's girlfriend, Jessica, is her birthday today. And they were born on different sides of the country within, what, an hour of each other? Or?
No, it was actually pretty much the same time. She was on the East Coast, I was on the West Coast. We're just 3 hours apart, so it's pretty much
Good.
came in the world right around the same time.
So they're both smart, beautiful, remarkable women, and I'd like them to come up and stand with me while you all sing happy birthday to them. I am so proud of my son and my daughter. They are remarkable people. So, are you ready? I'm not going to give you a key. So, are you ready? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Patrick. Happy birthday to you. So, like Bree said, oh, by the way, I forgot to apologize for something. If this is too airy-fairy, mushy for any of you, and you're uncomfortable, I apologize. Hey, I'm dying here.
Thank you for your service. We have
Thank you for your service.
Stand up. All of you stand. Okay, all of you who are not veterans, sit down. And all of you who are veterans, stand up, please. And all of you, you did, didn't you? Not many people know Bree served in the Coast Guard. People think that he was just a hippie bum from Hawaii, but
I got out, he went in.
and it was pretty much like that.
Yes, they're pretty much close to
It's like whoop. All right, so let me consult my notes to see if there's anything else I got. Well, we're going to introduce them later. Brees is going to take care of this part. But there is one person that I'd like to point out if he's in the place, and that's Jeremy Sowers. Is Jeremy here? Jeremy Sowers?
Yeah, he's here.
Where is he?
I'll get him.
Go get him, John.
Oh, it's outside. Yeah, it's outside.
Jeremy operates a deli store and a catering business called Emergency Barbecue out of San Carlos, Jeff? Okay, out of San Carlos. And Jeremy is a real supporter of our project. Here he comes. Jeremy, just stand there. Let everybody see you. So, Jeremy provides the catered food for all of our helicopter events. And all I do is call in and go, Jeremy, we need food for 35, or we need food for 40, or 20, and he delivers it, shows up, and when he can, if not, he sends somebody, and they set up the food for us, and they never charge us a penny.
Wow.
So, and today, he provided all the barbecue food for us, and I just